Okay, well, while we wait for another call, let's talk about some other things. People in the chat are mentioning Lincoln Riley's play selection on the drive that USC had with 5 minutes left. Look, when you get the ball with 5 minutes left, your goal is to get first downs. Your goal is not to bleed 2 minutes off the clock, dump the ball 3 times into the middle of the line and punt with a little over 3 minutes left. And of course, Michigan had timeouts. So if Michigan could have chosen to use timeouts, it might have gotten the ball closer to like 3:30 left. And Michigan got the ball with 4:02 left. So with 5 minutes left, your goal is to get a first down. Now, I'm not going to defend Lincoln Riley's play selection. I mean, 2 shovel passes, really? That was pretty bad. To me, the failure was not the failure to run the ball because running game wasn't working really well. The failure was to be a little bit more creative, and the failure was also not getting the ball to the wide receivers. Receivers were making plays, right? The receivers made a lot of plays in the third quarter into the early fourth quarter. That was your vehicle for getting first downs, throwing the ball to your receivers. And, if nothing else, at the very least, a flat pass, to the edges, get someone fast in open in space. Should have been at least one of those calls in the 3-down sequence for Lincoln Riley. And here's the other thing. The other thing about Lincoln Riley, I'm not talking about the late drive, but I've made my point clear. He should have tried to get a first down with more creative play selection. You're not trying to kill the clock with 4 minutes left. You're trying to get a first down. The other thing about Lincoln Riley that hasn't received nearly as much attention as it should is, remember, against LSU, USC wasted not actually 1, but 2 timeouts in the third quarter because a play wasn't getting in. And another timeout got wasted in the third quarter of this game because a play didn't get in. That is amateur hour. And here's the thing to emphasize about this. As bad as it is that a play didn't get in quickly in the third quarter, coaches need to realize in the third quarter, it is not worth it to call one of your 3 very precious timeouts to save 5 yards. The only exception that I'll allow for is 4th and inches. Either 4th and inches anywhere on the field or at the goal line. Okay, maybe you then call a timeout in the third quarter, and avoid the 5-yard loss. But if it's like 2nd and 3, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, you do not waste that timeout in the third quarter because you need it for the end game. And USC really could have used 40 extra seconds in that end game sequence. So Lincoln Riley has been really unprofessional in wasting these third quarter timeouts. Happened against LSU, happened against Michigan. This crap needs to be nipped in the bud, period. And that did not get discussed nearly as much as the play selection on the drive. Not that the play selection shouldn't have been criticized. It should have been. But I think fans are going with he should have run the ball. No, he should have tried to get the first down. And he didn't make as aggressive an effort to do that. But the wasting of third quarter timeouts, like that's Clay Helton BS. That happened all the time under Clay Helton. Lincoln Riley's better than that. He needs to get that thing fixed.
People are putting everything on Lincoln Riley, and he admitted, I think everyone agrees that it was really conservative, and I agree with you, Matt. Get that first down, salted away, etc. But you got to put it on the players too. The execution of both those shovel passes was very poor, from the blocking to the actual shovel pass into the ground. I mean, I don't know if Miller just dumped it because, but no, because you're not going to do that because you want to run the clock. I don't know what was going on that play. The execution was terrible from the get-go, and they ran again, and it looked just as bad. So part of this is on the execution on the offense. Second part of that was, Matt, is you said, yeah, they could have called their timeouts. So you're getting the ball. This offense, we watched that entire third quarter and fourth quarter. They're getting the ball with 3:30, 3:50, whatever you said, with what, 1 timeout? You think they're going to matriculate down the field 80 yards? That the chances are almost zero, almost to the point where they have to start trying to throw the ball at that point. If they have 1 timeout, about 3:40, 3:50 on the clock, they're throwing the ball. And that's what we want to see. We want to make Orji throw the ball. So I don't know. I mean, I honestly think that you wanted to run that clock off, make them call their timeouts. save clock. And then that's going to change. They're not going to be able to start running the ball from the 15-yard line. It's a miracle. It took that 65-yard run. Otherwise, they're not scoring. That offense was not made to go down the field and score and win that game. There's just absolutely no way. And also you brought up the receivers. Jay Fair, by the way, guys, I've heard anyone talk about. Everyone thoughts and prayers out to Mekhi Lemon. That was a brutal, vicious bullshit hit. That was dirty as hell on that blindside block. That was cheap, man. Target. You could have thrown 100 flags at what that was. But Jay Fair stepped up and played a really great game, and I'm glad to see him getting when he did have his chance that he did shine. So that was great. All right, caller. Hi. Thank you for calling. By the way, thank you for calling in and salvaging the show because we're about to call this thing. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, by the way, we have 5 calls stacking up, so we're going to move kind of fast. Sorry, caller. I had you turned down. Sorry. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is John from Detroit. What's happening, fellas?
John, what's going on, man? Okay, this is therapy for you. I know this was upsetting. This was upsetting.
Oh, yeah, Listen,
I know.
Listen. Matt, tell him I got a number of things. The first thing I got, yes, I do blame it on Lincoln Riley. Because for 2 weeks, I'm not talking about the defense. I got it that we didn't have no tape on Orgy. And we did. We made the necessary adjustments. And I like that. I got no problem with that. And even on that, though, I'm just going to say this as a little side piece. I want to see what the other 10s in the Big Ten going to do. Now that there's the camera in the sky, the eye in the sky, as they say in the NFL, and now you got them on tape, let's see how they defend them. I wish we would have had all of that time because we didn't know. Remember, we were actually, I think the first week we thought it was going to be what? Davis Warren, whatever his name is. That's what we thought it was going to be. Next thing you do, he changed the origin. Okay, but again, I'm disappointed because in 2 weeks, I was looking for some creation. Why you keep running the ball up the middle, number one? Those 2 guys up the middle, you ain't moving them. They're not just big, but they're very athletic. We kept running through their strength. And I'm sitting there and saying that I'm thinking I'm going to see jet sweeps. I'm going to see men in motion. You didn't see none of that. I don't get it. We got speed. We just didn't use it correctly. Now, this is my second point here. Listen, what in the hell are we doing leaving LA at 6:30 on a Friday? 6:30 LA time. That's 9:30 Michigan time. That's stupid, fellas. I watched the Stanford game. I watched the Stanford and the Syracuse game. They played Friday night. Good game. Stanford got there Wednesday afternoon. He got his guys in the bed. He waked them up the next day, that Thursday. Why do we do that? I don't even think our guys even went to sleep. I'm telling y'all. Some of them guys didn't go to sleep. That's why Brett was probably looking like he was like looking at deer in the headlight. He was way off. When I know when I come out Westside and come back, it normally takes me a day because I'm losing time when I come back. It takes me a day. That travel situation got to be changed, man. This game was too important. It was so many people here from LA that was rooting for USC. They were here on Thursday because people was calling me, man. They had all the hotels out here in Ann Arbor and stuff like that. They was here on Thursday. Where was we at? Friday?
That's awful.
Come on, man.
That's awful.
That didn't make no sense.
I can't believe that.
That's
like you want to get used to the time zone and the conditions. I mean, and John, just a second. Like the Big Ten TV deal and all that Big Ten TV money, you can spring for that extra hotel night on Thursday. Like
I don't think money's the issue.
We know that.
Okay, guys, let me jump in real quick. Let me hop in real quick.
Are we pinching friggin' pennies here? What is the deal with that?
I don't think it's money. I think Lincoln Riley is on a record. He's been asked in the past, and he's talked about the fact that he has reached out to the professional teams, the Rams, the Chargers, the local teams, on how to travel and what the secrets are because they know. And I'll tell you, I flew in on Friday. I had to work, so I had a late night flight on Friday night. And I got in, and it kicked. And then I had an early flight. I had 7 a.m. Eastern time flight, which is, you guys, this is 4 o'clock here, and I had to get up about maybe 2. Well, no, not even that, like 1:30 in the morning in order to get there for my flight. So believe me, I mean, they're on charter flights, but it did kind of kick my ass a little bit getting there and then time change. And it is something, there is something to your internal clock that you have. I don't know what the purpose is. Maybe that's a good question. Like we could try to follow up with and find out, what he's hearing from the other organizations. But yeah, I mean, to me, that's kind of a no brainer. I don't understand why not go a day early, get fully acclimated and ready to go. I don't know.
That's coming from some of the ex-players. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but that's coming from the ex-players. So again, it's just crazy, man. I don't get it.
But he's going to experts and asking. I mean, it's not like he's flying blind, John. It's not like he's flying blind. He's asking the right people. We would assume that the professional organizations, multiple professional organizations, they do it all the time. They're traveling time zones all the time. They put the money into the research. Guarantee they have. Just get 1 or 2 more wins on the season. They're putting money into figuring this out. I don't know. You're right. It's counterintuitive. I agree with both you guys, but I'm saying it's one of these things where I don't think they're doing it for no reason. Or, I just want to go on Friday. I don't think that's what they're doing. And and by the way, we don't know if that's accurate, right? John, you said it's a rumor.
No, this is coming from some of the ex-players. Now, this is all I'm saying. I've been looking at podcasts for the last 2 days. I've been going crazy here. Okay, all day today. This is some of the ex-players. This is what they're saying. I don't know if it's true or not, but this is what and I'm hoping that's not true because again, remember when I told you about the schedule? I'm worried about the middle of the schedule. When we go, not so much. I'm worried about just being tired. When we go to Minnesota, then we play somebody, then we come back, then we go into Maryland. I'm worried about us being sharp for then because again, man, this thing is about to really, man, just get crazy. But the thing about it is, and I'm gonna tell you, man, it was so much holding in the game. And I get it, man. When you running the ball that many times, there's bound to be some holding. You got holding. Come on, man. You grabbing my quarterback's face mask. Aren't the referees watching the quarterback? Especially on that last drive trying to go on before halftime. And remember, I told you guys, I thought it was going to be 24-6. I was right. We scored 24 points. But Matt and Tim, I'm telling you, I was wrong there too. We could have scored more than 24 points. Okay? We should have had.
Well, the funny thing is,
we had 20 points in the first half.
John, the funny thing is, I mean, they must have the most elite receivers and running backs and offensive linemen because I've never heard of a team running the ball 47 times and not getting one holding call against them. But it's funny, USC has 1st and 10 from the 12 or whatever it was. And guess what? They get a holding call that backs them up. And instead of getting, instead of possibly a touchdown, now you have first and 20, and you have to settle for a field goal.
But now think about it. This is wild too, because your boy Jay, USC Jay said he got pitches during the holding call. But think about this. This is what I was telling the guys at church today. If you get the holding calls, that backs them up. That quarterback can't throw. That stuff hurt us, man. And I don't want to use excuses because I play football too. And my coach said, y'all got to just play through it. I thought we did because once I thought we threw the pick, they thought we were dead. We came right back after he threw the pick. He got baited for the pick. We came right back. But trust me, I'm not into moral victories. I'm not into that thing. And I'm hearing the players hurt. And that's what I want to hear. I want them to be hurt. I want them to be hurt because they know that basically they was right there. They could do a little bit better. We ain't going for no moral victories, man. We playing big boy football. We playing big boy football now. So they say, we playing big boy football. No excuses. Let's do what we got to do. We still had a long season to go. But I was looking for a little bit more creation. I was looking for the second string quarterback to come in, to use him on some plays. And we had 2 weeks for the offense to get ready for this. I'm like, man, where my man in motion at? Okay, let's get them thinking, man. Let's not be that conservative. I'm sorry, I do blame this on Lincoln. I just, because offensively, I mean, you beat my quarterback up. Come on, man.
I do think
too many athletes, man.
I do think, John, that because of, I mean, it's twofold. I mean, there aren't many plays you can call. And give Michigan credit. I mean, again, we can't just pretend like it was all in USC. They played great defense, and especially up front, and they were beating our offensive line on almost every play, just without fail, in the first half. And then they were getting to them in the second half as well. You have to get there. But no play calling is going to be successful if you can't block the defense. And Miller was getting hammered, and he took a beating. All Trojan fans out there, you got to tip your hats to Miller. He always hangs in there. He takes a lot of shots. Yeah. He took some cheap shots. He did see some crazy face masks that weren't. How do you not call a face mask? You know, I mean, it's right. That's one of the easiest calls for the umpire to make. I don't understand how he missed. I don't get it. I don't get it.
But I'm gonna tell you, but I'm gonna tell you, man. At my church, they're all the Michigan State guys. Because at my churches, we got Ohio State people. Because we got about 25 people from Ohio. So we got the Ohio State fans. It's me and another guy from Tennessee. We the only USC fan, and we always got to come in and break up the commotion. And then the rest is Michigan and Michigan State. And so the two USC fans and the Michigan and the Michigan State people and Ohio State people, we always on Michigan. We hate Michigan. We always on them. We give them no love. But you know what they told me today? They said this is stuff we've been going through when we play them. I'm just telling you, you don't get no calls in Ann Arbor. You're not getting no calls.
That's what a lot of people.
You don't watch a lot of the games.
That's what a lot of Twitter people said. John, hold on. That's what a lot of people said on Twitter. A lot of the Big Ten fans were saying, you know, kind of like we say about going and playing in South Bend. You don't get a lot of calls. We're not going to blame. Listen, let's face it though. As bad as the play calling was, and it was bad, it was horrible. SC was in a position to make plays and win. So really, that's where our focus should be. You can't control what the refs are going to do. I agree with you. I'm seeing more. I'm looking. I'm editing my photos right now, and I'm looking at them. And I mean, I'm seeing guys stretch jerseys about 2 feet long, 2 feet long. And there were no holding calls at all in that game. The fact that there were 0 holding calls, that's the most egregious thing I've ever heard in my life. But John, we got to let you go. John, I got to let you go. I could talk to you all day long, all great points, but
I know that.
I just lost 5 phone calls. So
you guys, man, great job, man. Okay. All right. Okay.
John, listen, call back. Call back. Well, I always want to hear your calls. Thank you, John.
All right.
We lost that game because Michigan's defensive line absolutely dominated and put Moss under duress all day. Now, he still almost threw for 300 yards and had 3 touchdown passes, which is a testament to how good he is. But that D-line is what cost us the game. In addition to not making the tackle on that 63-yard run when there were 2 USC players that could have brought him down back at midfield or even before that. That's what got us. It wasn't the refs, okay? It wasn't Lincoln Riley, who did a fine job with the game plan. It was the fact that we lost in the trenches, and when it mattered, we didn't make that tackle. And those little things, coupled with the big thing, which is letting the defensive line run wild on us, is why we lost. So the future still looks bright for SC. Everyone's got to calm down. But we're not going to get better if we're trying to blame other people and other things. Michigan won. Congratulations to them.
Yes.
Let's move on.
Yep. I agree. Okay, I hope I'm being very clear. I try to do it, Matt, that I did try to say that. They won the game. This is football. You make the plays, you win the game. Doesn't matter what you do from 90% of the time. It's, you know, as we've learned over the last couple of years, explosives can kill you. You give those chunk plays up.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that you held them to a little over 3 yards to carry. Before that, they threw the ball for what, 30 and change. You know what I mean? The defense, and then in the second half, the defense literally shut them down to that big run. And kudos to them to you know, you got to give a little bit of credit as well, because I mean, it's not that easy. I mean, we're sitting here and we're talking about missed tackles, but sometimes you got to give Mullins his due, man. I mean, that guy is a great running back, and he got loose. You got to wrap up. You got to make the play, and they didn't. And so, I mean, I don't want to make it seem like I'm not giving Michigan their credit. Michigan won that game. It wasn't stolen from USC. USC had opportunities to end that game with a victory 24-20, and they just didn't make the plays that Michigan did. And that's how you win in football. You make more plays than the other. Well, actually, not more plays. You make more important plays than the other team.
That's right.
Tim, I agree. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, look, the most productive thing for us is to learn the lessons from this to become better. We had Michigan one-dimensional because Alex Orji couldn't throw a football to save his life. And what are the lessons that we need to learn from this? Well, when we learn those lessons, we will get better, and we still have a reasonable chance at the playoffs. So let's take the positive, learn the lessons from the failure, and not dwell on the past or on blaming other people. We lost. Michigan won. Congratulations to them. Next game.
Great call. I can't.
Thanks a lot.
We
Thanks,
can't.
guys.
Thank you. We can't lose focus, you guys. You can't blame the referees like Ab said. You can't blame play calls on Lincoln Riley. You can't blame. There are other points scored in that game besides the two gentlemen in the end of the game that missed the tackle. This is a team sport. Coaching, players, coaches coaching, players executing, and USC did not make that. I think they'd be the first one to tell you they didn't make the plays they needed to make to win that game. But that said, they weren't embarrassed. Playing in Michigan Stadium is no easy task. And Matt, you kind of alluded to the fact that they had to burn a timeout, and you said a third, but it was a third down. I mean, they did it for a reason, but it was loud. It was loud in that place. Even if they can't spell your, it's with an apostrophe. On the big screen. If you guys have Twitter, what I'm talking about. You have to tip your hat to them. I mean, I don't want this as being a big thing like, oh, the coaches, the referee stole the game from us. Guys, it didn't help. It didn't help. There was some serious home cooking going on. And by the way, I saw some of the comments in chat. Please, you guys, show me pictures like this. Okay, so here this is Braylon Shelby right here on the right side. And he's trying to make a play. And if you watch right here, watch now, Shelby's 34. And he's still 34 trying to make a play. And he's still being held. I mean, that's not even the most egregious ones. I'm missing one of the I mean, he's being tackled. Look at, he's right there, and the play's right here in this gap, and the refs aren't calling that stuff. And it was going on all night. I mean, if anyone wants to show me where USC was holding that egregiously, go ahead and show it to me. But I didn't see it. I've looked through probably about maybe 400 pictures already, and I shoot lots of shots of the line. And I'm telling you, there's some nasty stuff. But that's not why USC lost. USC lost because they didn't make plays that they should have made.